F-Zero. Man, I remember the first time I played this game. I'm pretty sure I was about 5 years old, and I didn't have a SNES. I remember I was with my mom, and we were going over to a friend of the family's house. And I remember their son had video games. I remember it got burnt into my brain because one time he had come over with his Super Nintendo and showed us Super Mario World. And I remember playing it when I was like 4, and I always wanted to play it more, but I never really got a chance to. We just didn't have video games, and they were still not really very popular yet. Like the Super Nintendo and 64, it was gaining popularity, but like at the mainstream large popularity, it was just not quite there yet. And I shouldn't say I was 5. I think I was actually, let's say 6 or 7 or 8. I'm trying to. It's kind of hard to remember now. It was a while ago. I was in between the range of 5 and 8, and when I went over to his house, and I remember that he had video games, and then I remember asking if I could play them because he wasn't at home. He was away at school, and his mom was there. And I asked his mom, I'm like, "Hey, can I play the video games?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." She was super wonderful woman, very nice lady, but she had no idea how they worked. And so I found the console, and it was, this gray and purple SNES box. And I knew that you had to put the cartridge inside and turn the TV on and put the TV to a specific station. But that's all I knew. I don't even know how I acquired that very relic knowledge of being able to like fire up this machine, because it actually was a little bit tricky. Like you had to know where to plug in the console, what channel to turn it to on the TV, and then how to turn the console on. And that was the crucial part I did not how to do. I did not know how to turn on a SNES console. There are 2 buttons on top of the SNES console from what I can remember from memory. There are 2 big purple buttons. But the problem is they're not buttons, they're sliders, and I did not know they slide. And I kept pressing them, trying to get it to turn on for hours, and it wouldn't turn on until eventually her son came home from school. And, I never really got to play video games much. So like for me, I was so excited to play this game, and I was so sad that I couldn't get it to work. And her son was, he wasn't like the nicest kid, like he was all right. So he didn't really want me playing his Super Nintendo, and then his mom kind of got after him because she's like, just share your console. He's not going to be here for that long. So anyway, he like begrudgingly did share the Super Nintendo with me, and he turned it on, and he's like, have you ever played this game, F-Zero? And I was like, no. And so he showed me this game, and he let me play it. My God. This game is so punishingly difficult. I don't think to this day, as an adult, have I ever passed the second level. I don't like, I mean, I just didn't own it. So I never really got to play it that much. I vividly remember the memory of playing this game and how tough it was. I might have gotten to level 3. Definitely have not finished this game. F-Zero itself is like, it's weird to be talking about old SNES titles because I feel old talking about them now. Because like I look at them and I'm like, they still have this charm to them, but like they've been around for so long, and now like the current generation, like, you know, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, I feel like so many of them never really experiment or get to enjoy SNES titles that much. Because for a lot of people, it's like, why would I play this old game from the 90s when like there's so many other brand new awesome games out now? Honestly, I agree with him. Like, it's kind of hard to, you know, justify playing something that's older now. But F-Zero was actually a really great game. It was well made. It was a Nintendo IP, and it was brutally difficult, but it was also pretty fun. Like everything from the music to the visuals and just the technical challenge of being able to play this game. Like, this game wasn't really made for like a 5-year-old kid. This game was made for at least a 13-year-old try hard. Video games were hard back then, man. Like, they didn't coddle you at all. Like, I feel like a lot of video games now do. Like, there's all these multiple difficulty levels, and you can just like set it to easy and then just like finish the game. But like back then, like there was no difficulty setting. It was just like brutally beat your balls into a pulp hard mode, and that was what F-Zero was, at least to me as a kid. But I still loved it anyway because it was so fun, because I get to fly a spaceship around this track going at like between 300 to 400 kilometers per hour, listening to this really awesome cool music, and everything was from the future. It was just so cool. It was a great little game. And, I don't know all of the F-Zero lore, aside from like, Captain Falcon being a character that I eventually learned showed up in Super Smash Bros. And I don't know if he showed up until like the GameCube version of F-Zero. I don't know if he's in the original SNES version, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. Is there an F-Zero for the N64? I don't know if there is. I should double check. I think there is. Maybe that was his first appearance with the N64. I need to go do some research after I make this video. But yeah, just great little game. Sometimes taking a little bit of a trip back to the good old days. It's kind of fun to relive those memories. But yeah, I did end up only getting to play the console for maybe like a half hour before we had to go. Those precious 2 hours that I could have played this game were wasted, unfortunately, trying to figure out how to turn the SNES console on, not knowing that it was a slider. When he showed it to me, I made sure I never forgot that ever again. But yeah, it wasn't until much later that I got my first SNES console, which I think I was 8, between 8 to 10. But it unfortunately burnt to a crisp. There was one day I was playing it and there was smoke coming out of the console, and my parents were like, well, we're throwing that in the trash. And then I'm like, no. It was a very, very, very sad day. But I did end up, I never got another SNES, but I did end up learning how to emulate them and having fun playing those old games. So in the end, it worked out. So anyway, thank you, F-Zero, for being a pretty fun and awesome childhood memory. And thank you, Nintendo.